All right. I'm excited about doing episode 14 with my guest, Tanya.
Yeah.
It's not
Hi.
Tanya because
Exactly.
it's spelled that way.
It is.
We're going to be talking about jingle bells in a moment. But so I guess the first question, Tanya, is what did you think your misheard lyric was?
Okay, so give you a little preface here
Yes.
because when I was little, and I still do this to this day, where if I don't understand a lyric in a song, I just assume it's a word I don't know yet.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
that's a good assumption. That's a good assumption.
So I just kind of went along with I didn't understand what a one-horse open sleigh is.
Yes.
So in my little brain, it was a one-horse soap and sleigh.
And whore, WHORE.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a whore was at the time, but seemed reasonable that there was a whore out there soaping and slaying. I don't know.
Oh my! Well, you're okay. So it's funny. So so how this came about, listeners, is Tanya is a really good friend of my other good friend Tammy. That's
Yes.
our connection, and she was commenting on our social media site, and this is how it came to be for this meeting. And when I did research on jingle bells, you're actually not off with your assumption.
Oh no!
If you can believe that. So before we go into that, how do you and I know each other? I know it's Tammy's the connection, but how did we meet?
We met at an 80s
Yes.
weird
Yeah.
at an 80s concert where we went and saw who did we see?
Yeah.
We saw
B-52s.
B-52s,
Thompson Twins.
Thompson
He did Hold Me Now. I'm
Twins.
trying to think of. There was like 3 or 4.
and then Boy George.
Oh, that's right. Boy George was there. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
but like-
you wore the Boy George dress.
as one
The
does.
amazing Boy George
And the
dress.
cool thing about Tanya too, if people listeners don't know, you are an amazing costumer, cosplayer, right? So tell
Thank
us
you.
about that.
Yeah, I'm actually working towards. I'm going to be starting my own business at the
my
beginning of the
God.
year.
Okay, good to know.
So right now, because I have a whole lot of content and just looking to how to actually monetize and
Oh, yes.
get myself out there. But yeah, I started working on a comic, online comic about 7 years ago,
Ah.
and that got me to get professional passes to go to San Diego Comic-Con,
God.
which got me started on wanting to do cosplay because I've done costuming all of my life
Right,
since I was
because you're a
little
very
kid.
great. I mean, you can sew real well.
Yeah.
You do your own patterns, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's way beyond me. I went to fashion design school, and I was
yeah?
barely, making the pattern making. My part was the drawing that I love better.
Uh-huh.
But when I know people that are like you that
You
are
make these amazing
What?
headdresses
No,
and stuff.
not these. These
Oh.
I bought. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
when I meet people like you that have made things from scratch, I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, can you share with the listeners what the name of your company, or do you have the name of it yet?
I don't totally have a name
Okay.
yet.
All right.
What my working title is Mama's Little Helper.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay.
So,
All right. So
It's there's gonna be some videos where it's we're making like a 50s dress, and
Okay.
then we're making a cocktail to drink in the dress, and then we're making
it's a
dinner.
full
So
deal.
it's a
Oh my
full-
God, I like that
Yeah, so
concept.
that'll be like extra content that we
Okay.
do, but yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. So
Well, we're going to wish you luck because
Thank
with
you.
all our guests that we have here, we want everyone to be successful in what you do. And I always love when people do what they love.
yeah,
I mean, we have what we call work, which pays the bills.
Yep.
Or something, but this is your passion.
Yeah.
And then usually what happens is when you do something you love, things follow.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I've my boyfriend and
Yeah.
I he actually helped me with one of my creations a little while ago. We went on an 80s cruise
Of course.
on the river here.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I made myself a oh God, what do you call it? A Hawaiian
Oh, yes.
Hawaiian print dress.
Yes.
And he had a matching Hawaiian
Well,
print shirt.
that's perfect.
And people were just like, "Wow, where'd you get those?
Right.
Can I have your name? Can I
Hey,
buy these
then
from you?"
You should
And
have little cards.
I
and
didn't
say,
have any
I know,
cards.
and just say, "Here you go," and you can find me at yes, and then there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, so it sounds like just even kind of testing your wares, there was some good feedback from it. So you're on
Absolutely.
the right track.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about on the right track, let's talk about Jingle Bells.
Okay, let's talk about
and
that.
your one horror soap and sleigh. So, first of all, it's an old song, as
Yes.
I can imagine. It was actually written by a gentleman by the name James Lord Pierpont back in the 1800s. So
Oh
it
my
actually
gosh.
came out September of 1857.
Oh my gosh.
And I've always known it as a kid because we sang it in every like school play or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
Christmas time when schools were able to enjoy Christmas. I mean, now it's holidays or they don't want to even touch
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was a composer, but he was also a rebel in his own right. So what's funny finding out when you told me you wanted to do this was he's actually a son of a abolitionist, Unitarian minister, Reverend John Pierpont. And from an early age, this James Lord Pierpont was like leaving. I guess at age 14 he ran off from boarding school, joined a crew of a whaling ship, and spent nearly a decade at sea at 14. I
Oh
mean,
my
so he
gosh.
grew up with some prominence, but he was like,
Yeah.
I want to do this. And the interesting thing is when this song started to get popular, it really wasn't a Christmas song. So there's a couple did you knows that I'll share, and that's why what you'll know in a second, your one horse open sleigh kind of actually makes sense. So it said the first thought was some thought it was a song written for a Sunday school choir, but many historians disagree because of the verbiage, saying it was too racy at the time, so it couldn't be. So one of the things was it really was not intended as a Christmas song. It was actually a song that was supposed to be for historical accounts performed at a Thanksgiving service.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. And it was actually, it says here, it was a first performed at a Thanksgiving service at the church of either Pierpont's father or brother, because they're all very staunch religious folks. But the lyrics may have been too risque. So then they said because of the songwriter's rebellious nature, it was kind of no surprise that the Jingle Bells might be a rebel without a cause kind of attitude. So there's some more verses that you and I probably don't know, but some of the less known verses of the song actually describe picking up girls, drag racing on snow, and a high-speed crash.
Oh, goodness.
And the lyrics go, it while you're young, and a final verse of the secular standard is hardly about a holy or silent night. So there really is more to this Jingle Bells than what you and I thought. And then the second thing that was like, big aha for me is when it was first performed, it was actually called One Horse Open Sleigh.
Oh.
So they changed it to Jingle Bells 3 years later to, I guess, make more sense to folks. And that's why your interpretation was perfect, because that was the original. First printed in September of 1857. It was actually dedicated to some Boston doctor by the name of John Ordway, and also was done by, this is where it gets kind of racy, a troupe of white men performing in blackface.
Oh.
I mean, oh God.
Okay.
So
well,
that's how it was first performed.
okay.
Did you know that?
I did not know.
Yes. And then, so what happened was Pierpont, one of his failed efforts, he was actually a gold rush prospector at one point too. So he was a jack of many trades.
Yeah.
And one of his first songs was called "The Return Californian," and he performed it with that, and then which later included Jingle Bells. But he's done every other song. But the blackface was, did not expect that. A white. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that the two things go together.
Yes. And then the other aha that I found out doing research for you was it was actually the first song ever broadcasted from space.
Really?
Did you know that too?
I didn't.
So
I love this from my midterms.
and knowing that it's really about picking up girls, drag racing, who knew?
Well, yeah, sure, dashing through the snow.
And so your one horse open sleigh is pretty perfect for this.
But it's not about murdering.
Not about murdering.
Okay, good.
So we're good about that.
Okay.
So they said 9 days before Christmas in 1965, the two astronauts aboard Gemini 6 had just completed their rendezvous with Gemini 7. This is before my time, I can tell you. And so when this crew suddenly gave a troubling report to Mission Control, so they said, we have an object, looks like a satellite going from north to south up in a polar orbit. He's in a very low trajectory traveling from north to south and has a very high climbing ratio. It looks like it might be a very low, and then while they're saying this, they play Jingle Bells. So it was their thing of Santa. They were seeing Santa in space.
Oh, how funny.
And they play Jingle Bells.
Oh, funny.
So it's a pretty interesting take on this song from what you and I know about it and what the background of it. And in fact, this James Lord Pierpont is also related to the Chase Bank family as well. They all married in. So lots and lots of stuff. But let me ask you this. When you were growing up with Jingle Bells, I mean, what was your fond memory other than not knowing what One Horse Open Sleigh meant?
Once I understood what it meant.
Yeah.
And because I just, I didn't have a reference to what a. I mean, I knew what a sleigh was.
Yes.
But I didn't know what an open sleigh was. I
Yes.
certainly didn't know that they were necessarily pulled by horses.
Exactly.
And so I just, I don't know. I honestly don't know what was going through my head, and I finally realizing that it was what it was, and I think it was. I think I saw a Christmas card.
Oh, there it is.
And it was like an old-fashioned Christmas card where people were dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
How old were you around that time when you realized, oh, I'm singing this right? Or
I think I was probably about 9.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, clearly,
yes,
it's a one-horse open sleigh. And now I've seen the picture and I get it.
You get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and the funny thing is, I don't know if you heard, but in episode 6, we actually talked to an author by the name of Gavin Edwards, and he's wrote many a misheard book, lyric, and he says, a lot of the misheard songs come from us children, because it's what you know at the time or what it sounds like,
right?
And a lot of the, either we make it up or it's something we think. That's why the cross-eyed bear was very popular with children, with the cross-eyed bear that I have an example of. And then also some misheard songs go in 2 categories. It's either about sex, which makes sense with the horror, or food. So those are the 2 categories it gets. So you're right in line with what a 9-year-old would assume.
Yeah.
this lovely song from our past, and it's again one of those things sadly in most schools you probably don't hear as much anymore because schools are trying to be non-secular.
Sure.
Right. But so for those of you guys listening, it's one of these things where if you hear it and if you do hear one horse open sleigh, hey, you're not off now knowing kind of the background of this.
Well, and also, like, I went to a Montessori school when I was a kid.
Okay.
They weren't called that back then.
Yeah.
But when I was in kindergarten, it was kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and we were all mashed together. And I remember learning. We learned like songs that were in other languages too,
okay.
And so it just went along with the fact that I don't know the word. It doesn't matter. Somebody else is saying this is what it is. So because we learned like. I remember learning some Swedish songs about Koliata, which I guess is Santa.
Oh, okay. So the Swedish version of it, I guess.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Oh my God. And now
I just remember that. I always remember that word.
and did your parents ever know of your assumption of the song?
I don't think so.
Because your mom or dad probably would have been like, no, I don't.
No, yeah, I'm sure they would have like tried to help me through that. But when you're singing it along with everybody else,
yes. Yeah.
It sounds right.
Now, did you grow up in Oregon, or where did you grow up at?
Like the school that I went to there, that was in Santa Cruz, California.
Okay, that was in California.
I was born in Santa Cruz, and we moved up to Oregon when I was 6.
6. Okay, so you're pretty much an Oregonian.
Yeah,
You've been since 6 years old.
I've been in Oregon for 40 years.
I know. Time flies, let me tell you, listeners. And if you have any good examples, like this is how we found out about this, please send any of your comments as well as suggestions at misheardsongs@gmail.com. That's MISS heard, HERD. And who knows, you could be sitting here talking about your misheard. So so now that we know also that you're this amazing cosplayer, what's up in your horizon coming up? Is there any fun events you're doing, or is there a costume you're making that we should all know about? Or
I'm not working on anything in particular at the moment.
Okay.
I've been gathering. I gathered some very old vintage patterns just recently, and so I'm really looking at doing those kind of like the period kind of dresses.
Okay.
So 40s, 50s, 60s.
Which we see a lot of it. And when I've gone to many, and I haven't gone to the San Diego, that's like the main but when I went to design school, I was there in 1992. That's when San Diego Comic-Con was there, and it wasn't as big. It was like the 3rd year, and now it's so big that I don't know if everyone can go. Is it? Can you buy tickets to it, or is it like a lottery?
It's a lottery.
That's what I thought.
It's a lottery. So, like, I get badges guaranteed because I contribute to the comic industry. And so it's just I've been going for the past 6 years.
Okay.
So it was the 50th anniversary this last
Oh
year.
my goodness.
This summer, and that was really fun.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Took my guy with me. We didn't dress up at all this time.
You were just enjoying the sights.
I was a muggle.
A muggle
is what we say.
and that was a whole week. I mean,
Yeah.
because they're is it a whole week or is it only the weekend? I can't remember how.
It's like 4.5 days.
Oh
So
my
it starts
gosh.
Wednesday night and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Wow. And they paid for. You still have to pay, or
Well,
was it?
I still have to pay for my hotel rooms
yes.
and all of that kind of stuff. But I do get a guaranteed
Oh, very
badge,
cool.
which is definitely worth contributing to.
And they still have it at the San Diego Convention Center. Yes, so that's always been there.
Yep.
I'm surprised they haven't outgrown that now. I mean,
They actually use some of the hotels around there.
That's
They
what I
closed down.
thought.
They closed down all of the gas lamp district. And
Yes.
it's all only people. You can only walk in there, and so it's,
wow.
It was. I believe there were 160,000 people ticketed to go in this year.
Okay.
And there was at least that many more
Oh my
out in the
gosh.
streets.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like I said, when in the '90s, when I did go to it one time, because I worked at a Mexican restaurant that's no longer there, but it was facing there. It's now been torn down.
Oh.
We got tickets because there was a vendor that said, "Hey, I went through," and at that time it was still big, but they didn't even take up the whole convention. They took maybe the main, but they never took anything else, and it's since blown up.
Oh yeah.
You know.
It's yeah.
Well, I think the studios realize, well, we can make lots of money here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the money that gets thrown around for advertising down there is incredible. There's just huge posters on the side of a building, like the poster is the size of the building. And
Oh my God.
I got to go to, they took the Hard Rock Cafe down in the gas lamp district
Yes.
and turned it into the interdimensional hole of pancakes
Oh,
from the Good Place.
from the So there you go. So they really
and so
have
we
used...
ate at the interdimensional hole of pancakes.
Oh my
and
God.
It was just...
And your honey's really into it too, so that's a good thing. So that's good, yeah. Because if you don't have a honey that's not into
I
it...
may or may not have stolen a placemat.
Oh, okay, we don't know. We don't know, supposedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, and that's good because you definitely have to have someone that loves it as much as you because it's its own phenomenon as well. But yeah, thank you for sharing with us Jingle Bells. Thank you for letting me realize what all the things I didn't know about it. And then
Me too.
Hopefully if you get something up and running, we can put it in the show notes, a link to either your email or a site, so listeners that are interested on cosplay stuff, they can reach you directly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so thank you everyone, and again, keep on singing everything wrong. We love it.
Yeah.
It's all stuff,
And
right?
one horse
Open sleigh.